To Berachos, Daf Yomi, the base the Mishnah. A person should go ahead and say 18 brachos. We have go ahead. 19th bracha Berachos Aminim was instituted later. Again, in those days, people did not have written svarim. A lot of people were not by content that weren't able to go ahead and say it completely. Therefore, you should say it in a bridged version. Rabbi Kiva says, makes a pshara. If a person it's shagam, if it's set in his mouth and he's able to go ahead and daven, then mispal yudches, you should daven yudches. Bin lav. And if he's unable to, it's not shugur then me'en yudches. You should daven that a bridge version. Anyone who makes his tefillah keva, the Gemara will explain what keva means. Ain't tefillah tachnunim, his tefillah would not be a supplication. Another halacha, someone's going in a place of a sakana, a spell tefillah kasar shadafin, a short tefillah, a bridge version. Hashem save your nation, the remnants of Yisrael, the whole Parshas Ibra. Any Parshas Ibra that's the need should be in front of you. Parshas Ibra, I saw from the Sefer Melechus Shleima. He says any time that Hashem separates from you because of your virus, like the baby separates what from the mother. Again, a separate Hashem is separating from you, and the lashon of Ibrahim is the lashon of Uber when the baby separates from the mother. That's our need should be in front of you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the bracha that one says when he's in a makam sakana. If someone's riding on a donkey, Yored should get down via spalo. He shouldn't be davening on the donkey. He was not able to go down. Yach says, "Panav should turn his face towards Yerushalayim." Then Yochel says, "Panav Yichavna Sliba Keneged Beis Kachah Kedoshim." He's unable to physically do it, at least in his mind. He should be able to go ahead and Keneged the Holy of Holies. If a person's going on a ship, or a raft, I guess he's unable to stand. He should go ahead and mechaven his slave to base kachah kedoshim. So this is the matei of tefillah. This is exactly the lashon of tefillah, and the Gemara is going to go through where exactly these tefillahs came from. So it says the Gemara, Hani Shmoina Esrei, the 18 brachos Shmoina Esrei you say every day, Keneged me. Why would the Keneged? Why 18? Son of the Amir of Hilabed of Shmuel by Nachmeni, Keneged Shmoina Esrei Askaros. The 18 names mention Hashem's name, the Askara, the mention of Hashem's name, that David said in Tehillim Chavtes, Vahovul Hashem b'nei Elim. Right, this psukim are nearest to the Shmona Esrei. The Gemara in Rosh Hashanah Daf Lam Beis says, and how do you know Avos Kavurus Kedushas Hashem? You know from these psukim, right? You know from all the psukim. That's where you know them from. Hello.
Blazer.
Yes.
Mordechai, how are you?
Mordechai, how you doing?
Baruch Uncle Blazer, can I come over again this morning?
Sure. There's not. I think Ruthie's at home. You can come over.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Thanks so much. I'll see you.
So, okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, so now the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah brings this pasuk as a source for what? For Avos Kavurus Kedushas Hashem, and therefore this pasuk is the 18 times Hashem's name is mentioned. The Berachos of Shmona Esrei connected that. Rabbi Yosef Amar connected Shmona Esrei Askarish of Kriya Shema. In the Parsha of Kriya Shema, there's 18 mentions of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name, and therefore we connected that when we're talking the Berachos. Not Shmona Esrei Haggadah. Amar of Tanchum Amar Yeshua Ben Levi connected Shmona Esrei Chuli Shebesidra. There's 18 vertebrae in the body, so when a person goes ahead and bends over, each bracha is connected. Amar Tanchum Amar Yeshua Ben Levi Mispal Sarach Sheyachra. Person at certain points in davening has to go ahead and bow down. Actually, till the vertebrae in the back they go ahead and pop up. He has to bend so far that connected aside you can take an iser that in the fold of his flesh would hold the iser. Once you go ahead and go ahead and nod your head, should be in the sarf. That's enough regarding bowing. The mitzvah nafshe. It's dafka if it's difficult for him. And it appears it appears if he's bowing. But Ladina, a person's supposed to bow as much as he possibly can. Talk until Kol Shebashidra, by Hashem's Yemaidim, you go like this, and then by Hashem's name, you go up. Like I think the Gemara in Baba Kama says like a snake. Gemara in Daf Yomi that. But anyway, says the Gemara, how many times you saw these 18 brachas to Sharon Have? It's a kasha. It's not 18 brachas, it's 19 brachas. So I'm Rabbi Levi, Berachos Tzedaikim, Berachos of Tzedaikim of Mal Shnem, they will be Yavna Tikna. They went ahead, and the Anshe Knesset, they were mataking it in Yavna. And after a long time, the Chacham went ahead and they added it to Shemona Esrei. Now, the Anshe Knesset only made 18 brachas. They didn't make the 19th bracha. They made the 18. And the 19 brachas was what was instituted them. Kenegami Tiknu, that got the people in Yavna, they were mataking this 19th bracha, where they said the brachas, they're mataking because they're askaras of Chaval Hashem and Eilim or Kriya Shema. So where's the remez in those to the 19th bracha? So Rabbi Levi, Rabbi Hillel, Breda of Shmuel Bar Nachmani, right? It says Keneged Kel Hakavod Haroyim, the lashon of Kel. The Rabbi Yosef Keneged Echad Sheva Kriya Shema. So according to the one who says Chaval Hashem and Eilim, it's Kel Hakavod. The one who says Keneged the askaras of Kriya Shema, you only have 18. It's Keneged what the Echad of Kriya Shema. The Echad is referred to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the remez to the 19th bracha. According to Rav Tanchum, who says it's Keneged the Chulya Sheba Sidra. Where's the remez to the 19th? So Rabbi Shua Levi Keneged Chulya Katana Sheba Sidra. There's a small vertebrae in the Shidra. That small bone. It's not a vertebrae. It's a bone, and it's Keneged that. Okay. Tanrabanan Shimon HaPekuli, who's his malacha was that what he was a cotton merchant. He was involved with cotton. Here's the Shemona Esrei Berachos Lefnei Rabbi Gamliel. I'll say we have that. Right. And initially they were Masada in a certain seder, but a person would go ahead and Masada a bracha that he would need, and he came along with Shimon HaPekuli and he made the seder that we have. So it could be the Anshe Knesset were attacking it, but they would think of it as the seder. Came along Shimon HaPekuli and he went ahead and he was Masada it. Right? What about the Berachos Tzedaikim? How do you go ahead and where do we put that? Where exactly do we go ahead and what's the lashon? So, I guess they had forgotten the lashon. That he was mataking it. The next year, again he forgot. He was sitting there davening and he couldn't remember for 2 or 3 hours. However, they didn't take him down. So Amai Lo Haluv says the Gemara, why didn't they take him down? Yehuda Marav Tovachal Brachas Kulanin Moil. And if a person makes a mistake in all the brachas, again they used to daven by heart. They would not take him down. However, Amal Berachos said Tzedaikim, he skips that bracha. Malin said we take him down because maybe he was from the min, from Mi Talmidim, Yin Yud of Yeshu Nun Noitzri. That's what min stands for. So we would take him down. So why did they allow Shimon HaPekuli, Shmuel HaKatan to go ahead and remain there? It says more shiny Shmuel HaKatan, the Utikna. Since Shmuel HaKatan was the one that was mataking him, we allowed him to remain there. Let's be considered that maybe what he lifted his tzidkus, and therefore you should have taken him down. After all, if he was a tzaddik, he should go ahead and say the Berachos HaTzedaikim, the Berachos HaMinim. Why are we not taking him down? Says Gemara, right? Amarbaya Gemiri, we have a Messiah Tavalei Havibisha. A person that's good doesn't turn bad. Gemara incredulously, what are you talking about? Baksiv, Ubeshuv, Tzaddik Mitzkosai, the Asa Avel. And Tzaddik's possible to go ahead and you see a pasuk in Yecheskel, possible that he can go ahead and turn away. Says Gemara, who Russian Meikara? That was a Russian Meikara. Right? About Tzaddik Meikara, like Shmuel HaKatan, then he's not going to go back. So when it says he goes back, the Taka goes back. He was a Russia initially, he's going back to that. Mashenkin at Tzaddik, he's not going back to that because he was always at Tzaddik, he's not leaving it, not leaving the fold. Therefore, we're not chayish that Shmuel HaKatan was leaving the fold and going to Minas. I'll show you it's Tzaddik Meikara, and he did go back. He went off to Derech. But Tanan, Mishnah Novis, that Perik Beis, Mishnah Dalid, Al Taman Batzmcha, Moischa, a person should not believe himself the day of their death. He was Mishamish the Kuna Gedolah 80 years. Well, B'Seif Naset Tzedaki. In the end, he became what? He became a Tzedaki. So you see that a person who's a Tzaddik Meikara can in fact go off. Rabbi, Hu Yanai Hu Yochanan. Yanai HaMelech who killed the Chachmei Yisrael was the same as Yochanan. So obviously he was a Rosh Meikarai. Rav Amar Yani L'chud v'Yochanan. No, there were two different people. Yani Rosh Meikarai and the Yochanan Tzaddik Meikarai. So the case was that Yochanan was a Tzaddik Meikarai. Hadra Kasha L'duchte. We got the kasha again. You just told me that Tzaddik Meikarai is not going to go off. So why? So therefore it makes a lot of sense. But now you're telling me Yochanan, he did go off. Says the Gemara, Hanichel Abaye, who said that he was a Rosh Meikar, was Yana, it makes sense that he went off. Rava Kasha, Rava, Tzaddik Meikar Nami Dil Mahadabe. A Tzaddik Meikar also can go off. Even a person that's a Tzaddik may go off. And then that's just going to return our question regarding Shmuel HaKatan. Then why don't we take him down? So why don't we take him down? If since it's Tzaddik Meikar, so Shmuel HaKatan was a Tzaddik Meikar, let's be concerned about he's going off, and that's why he refuses to say the Berachos of Hamal Shinim. Says Shiny Shmuel HaKatan, the Askel boy. He began saying the bracha. And then clearly from his action, he forgot the rest. When do we say you take him down? That's when he refuses to say it, because he's going and substantiating that he's a min. Hashem came when he begins, you see that that is simply a question of forgetting, therefore keep him up. Some of you, the Marav, Vitim, Rav Shmuel, Levi, Leishonu, that we say we take a person down, he didn't begin the bracha. And therefore, okay, so now we know the 18 brachas. So we have the 18 brachas, we have different, either the askaris of Havel Hashem Ne'elim, or the Askaras of Kriya Shema, or the Chuli Sheva Shidra. And the 19th bracha, we either connect the small Chuli in the Shidra, or the Echad Shmon Esrei, or the Lashon of Kale in Havel Hashem Ne'elim. And now we're going to go ahead and, if the other Nuschas of Tfilis in other places, we're going to go ahead and comment among that. We're going to comment Hani Shivas Shabbat connected me, 7 brachas of Shabbos. We always say the first 3 brachas. The Berachos of Berachos of Shvach, and then the latter 3, the Berachos of Haidah. And usually when we say the middle 13 brachos, the brachos of Bakoshos, down on Shabbos we don't make Bakoshos, so we go ahead and we say that 7th bracha about Shabbos, Keneged me, Amrav Chalafta ben Shol, Keneged Sheva Koil Hashem David Alamayim, and Kol Hashem, Havel Hashem Elim, Havel Hashem, the Lashon of Koil in the Mizvah. So therefore, all the koilas that he says in that we say on Shabbos, those koilas, the 7, right, are connected to the Shabbos. We say the Ismail David Havel Hashem and Elim. Right, in that Havel Hashem and Elim, we have the lashon of koil said 7 times. So that koil 7 times is connected that. Hanitish is Rosh Hashanah connected me. There's 9 in Rosh Hashanah, right? We add Rosh Hashanah where most of Malchuyas Chaynis V'Shayfei. So I'm Rabbi Yitzchak. From the place of Kartignan, the name of the place, Keneged Tisha Askaris, the name, not 9 mentions of Kadosh Baruch Hu's name, Shama Chana B'Tfilasa. All it's be like Chana in Shmuel Aleph. Chana, after she gives birth to Shmuel, she goes ahead and she goes ahead and praises Kadosh Baruch Hu. She says a Shira, and that she mentions Hashem's name 9 times. So goes Alim Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Kida, because we said Damamar. Rosh Hashanah Nifkedash Sarah Rachel Chana, right? The 3 famous women who were Akarais, Sarah Rachel Chana, they were all remembered on Rosh Hashanah. So Mela, the Tefillah of Chana, Rosh Hashanah, 9 Askaras of Hashem's name in her Tefillah is the reason for the 9 brachas. Gemara, Hani Esem V'Abod the Tanisa connected me on the days we would fast because of rain, and there was 24 brachas. What are they connected? So Rabbi Chalvoi connected Esem V'Abod Rananos 24 the shyness of Rina. So Amar Shloima B'Shash Yichnes Aron the Beis Kodesh Kedashim. And Shloima was going ahead, and he was bringing the Aron down. He was bringing down the Aron to go and enter the Kodesh Kedashim, and he said 24 times he went ahead and he said HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. 24 times he said what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. Malachim Perek Ches, Malachim Perek Ches, and therefore this 24 Lashonis there. Okay. Shomer Ihachi Kol Yuma Nami Nimru. Why do we limit ourselves to 18? Why don't we extend to 24? It says, when did Shlomo say it? The Yuma Derachme. He said it in a day that what? And then they needed Rachmanis for Shemayim. Because what happened was the doors of the Beis Hamikdash refused to open up. And he needed Rachmanis Shemayim that the doors of the Azor should open up to bring the Aron in. So it says the Gemara, When do we say it? The day that we need rain, that's when we say it. So on a normal day, we always need rachmim, but I guess there's times where you need special rachmim. Day like when the Aron was unable to get to its resting place because the doors refused to open, or the doors of Shemayim refused to open because of rain, and then we go ahead and we say the Chavdal. Rishua said that you don't say 18 brachas, you say Me'en Shmona Esrei. Right? That's what you should daven every day. Man Me'en Shmona Esrei. What is Me'en Shmona Esrei? Says the Gemara, Rav Amar Me'en Kol Bracha Bracha. You say each Me'en Kol Bracha Bracha. In other words, you say in a bridge version of every bracha. Shmuel Amar, right? Shmuel says you don't say 18 brachas. You say the 3 brachas in the beginning and the 3 brachas in the end, and in the middle you say Havinenu Hashem Elokeinu L'das D'Rachecha, and that bracha of Havinenu will be connected birchas atachayim. In other words, according to Yeshua, you just said an abridged version of each bracha. You didn't say the 3 in the beginning, 3 in the end. You have 18 brachas. The brachas of Shvach, the bracha of Eidah, and the bracha of Akashas, they're all the same. In other words, a bridge, 18 times. Shmuel says no. The brachas of Shvach and Hakadosh Baruch Hu, you say our nusach. The last 3 brachas, the brachas of Hakadosh Hakadosh Baruch Hu, you say the nusach. But the middle 12 brachas, right? Those brachas you're going to say in a bridge verse. And the first one, Habinenu, that's keneged atachayim. Umol Hashem levavenu liyaresecha. That bracha is keneged hashivenu. But tislach lanu, that's keneged the bracha of slach lanu. Liyos geula goylim, that's keneged birchas hagoyel Yisrael. For achachnu b'machayvenu, distance us what from our pain, that's the keneged the bracha refeinu. V'dashnenu b'nois artsecha, and that's the birchas of shanim. Gather us in from the gullets, that's Keneged Rat Kibbutz Golias. Toyim al daitecha, hoyim al dvarecha, yishpaitu, yenash should be punished. That's Keneged. Rashi says that's Keneged Elo Hashayftim, Keneged Mishpatecha, and Tamidim, and Lishpait Mishpat Torah. Because Rashi Shanira Kamaya Sheni, who Keneged Birchas Hashivenu Sheftenu. Al Rishayim Tanaf Yadcha, Al Mal Shanim. Yismechut tzadikim al tzadikim. V'inyan irecha v'tikkun hechalecha. That's connected by Yerushalayim. With smichas keren dov ravdecha u'arichas nel v'shem shchecha. Obviously, that's connected by smichas keren Yeshua. Terem nikum atuasane. We call out immediately at the Shem answers. That's connected to Shemei Tefillah brachatem Shemei Tefillah. So we have an abridged version. So that's the main bracha. So we have machlekes. According to Rabbi Yeshua, what do? You say an abridged version. Say in a bridge version, you don't say the whole brachas, the 18 brachas, like Rabbi Gamliel says. You say in a bridge version of all 18 brachas. Says Rav, Shmuel, that's Rav. Rav's explanation of Rabbi Yeshua. And according to Shmuel's explanation of Yeshua, it's not that you say 18 abridged brachas. You say three originals in the beginning, 3 originals in the end, and an abridged version in the middle, as he just quoted. Like Allah Abaye Amanda Matzi Havinenu, Abaye would curse anyone who would say brachos of Havinenu, a brachos shleimusan, because he said that what the halacha is not like Rabbi Yeshua, but that the person should mispell me yudches, but the halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, that a person should daven the whole davening. Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, Kol Hashana Kula Mispal Lod Havinenu. Rav Nachman says in the name of Shmuel that a person is able to say what? The brachas Avinenu the whole year, because he passed like Rabbi Yeshua, who said you should daven Me'en Yud Ches, and he went according to his shita that Me'en Yud Ches means 3 beginning, 3 ends in the middle, not like Rav, who said a total of a bridge for all 18. However, Chutz Mitzvah Shabbos and Mitzvah Yom Tovim, then when Mitzvah Shabbos and Yom Tovim, the person should not daven Me'en Yud Ches. Why? Because you have to say the bracha of Havdalah in Chanin Adas. So I was going to question why can't we make an abridged version of Havdalah? Maskala Rabbi Bar Shmuel, the Nimra bracha revias P'yatzma. Why don't you make a 4th bracha by itself? Milay Tanan, according to Gemara, and we're going to see later on, Rabbi Kiva Omer, Oimra bracha revias P'yatzma. By Havdalah, you make a separate bracha. Rabbi Eliezer Omer B'Haidah, and you put that bracha what in Maidim. So let's make a bracha. Let's say 3 brachas, right? Say bracha Havdalah. Say a bridge 12 in the middle and the 3 in the end, according to Shmuel. So why can't you go ahead and say in a bridge version of Me'en Yud Ches, even Shabbos and Motzei Yontif, when in fact what you're able to go ahead and put the bracha of Havdalah as a bracha of Me'atzman. So Fred the Gemara to Kol Hashana Kulim Yadina Rabbi Kiva. So we do like Rabbi Kiva the whole year that we make a bracha of Chanan Das with the Atzmoi that we should do it on Shabbos and Yantiv. We don't do it the whole year. The Hashanami never that we should do it now on Shabbos and Yantiv. Kol Hashana Kulim my time Yadina Rabbi Kiva. What's the year? Why don't we do like Rabbi Kiva Taka? That because Tamni Sari Tikin, Shari Loy Tikin. They made 8. They were mitakin and not 9. Achanami Tikin, Tamni Loy Tikin. They were Tikin only 8 and not 9. So therefore, therefore you should not say the Me'en Yud Ches because you have to say Havdalah. Says the Gemara, why don't you go ahead and in the abridged version of Havinenu institute what the lashon of Hamavdil? Says you should have done that. Well, you could have done that. Again, he passes like Rabbi Yeshua. Therefore, you could say Havinenu the whole year. Except in the days where you have to say the same Talmud what the bracha, because you have to say what the same Talmud and the bracha of Havinenu you don't have. So it's only a summertime bracha. It's only here for you. You can say Havinenu because the winter you can't say it because you have to say the same Talmud. Maskul, 1 second. Why don't we go ahead and put it in the Dashnenu Benois Artsecha, the same Talmud bracha? Why don't we add that to we have the bracha Berachos Hashanim, the words of that parallel Berachos Hashanim with the Dashnenu Benois Artsecha. So why don't we just go ahead and just like we say the same Talmud in Berachos Hashanim in a regular Shemona Esrei in the bracha of Havinenu in the bracha the part that says the Dashnenu Benois Artsecha, why don't we just go ahead and put in the same Talmud bracha? Says Gemara, so that's true. If you add words, you're going to go ahead and become tired and you won't remember. Says Gemara, Hachi Havdalah b'Chanan Das Navias the true. When you say when the Gemara said before that Havinenu Mitzvah Shabbos, you're not able to say Havdalah b'Chas Chanan Das, right? You're going to be tired. So why weren't we worried about there when we asked the question, right? Says, since it was in the beginning of davening, right? At the beginning of davening, you won't be tired if we go ahead and institute saying what bracha of Dala in the beginning of Havinenu, because it's the beginning. Since it's in the middle of davening, mitrid, we're worried that what you can come tired and you can come confused. Maskal Ravashi guess Rabbi and Nemra. Why don't you go ahead and be shonim b'shamei tefillah? In other words, okay, you said that you're worried about the middle becoming confused. I have an eitzah to go ahead and even in the winter to say Havinenu. Why? Because I can go ahead and say Saint Halamata in the bracha of Shemei Tefillah, which is at the end. Pashas at the end, just like in the beginning, you won't be tired. In the end, you won't be tired as well. So l'chayra, you have a kasha, you have a statement. You're saying that Havinenu is only a summertime tefillah because you have to say Saint Halamata, and you can't only place to say it. More sense to say it in the bracha of the bridge version of B'nashneinu b'nois artzecha. Of course, it's in the middle. You tell me you're going to forget, so say it by Shemei Tefillah and you won't forget. Maskla Ravashi yes Rabbi v'nemra b'Shemei Tefillah. Right, says Gemara. Let's say you're davening Shemona Esrei and you made a mistake and you didn't say the same Talmud Levracha, right? No, excuse me. You didn't say Mashav Ruach Mer Geshem. Excuse me. You didn't say Gevurus Geshamim in the beginning, but Tchias Hamesim, the bracha Tchias Hamesim. Then, if you finish the bracha Machzir, so you go back to the beginning of davening. However, Shelo Berachos Hashanim, when you made a request for rain, Gevurus Geshamim is Shvach Kadosh Baruch Hu brings the rain, but Shela is bakasha for rain. And if you make a mistake in Berachos Hashanim in Machzir, so you don't have to go back to the beginning. What do? You go say Mifnei Shiach Elohim b'Shemei Tefillah, right? You're able to go ahead and say it in Shemei Tefillah. Mifnei Shiach Elohim b'Shemei Tefillah. Ba'avdalah b'Chanan Adas. And also, if you don't say Atachad Antanu in the bracha of Chanan Adas, Mifnei Shiach Elohim Elokos, you're able to say it on the kos, like as we do. So Freding Gemara Kasha. Why did you go ahead and say you can't say Havinenu during the winter time? Because why you can't say the same Talmud in the middle? Say it in Shemei Tefillah, and because we see that if a person forgets in a regular Shemona Esrei to go ahead and say the same Talmud, you can make it up at Shemei Tefillah. So who would then? Well, you can say Havinenu, we can attack it and instill it in the bracha Shemei Tefillah. Obvious teretz says more Torah shiny. It's the difference when you make a mistake. It's a b'di'evet. But b'di'evet, if you made a mistake and you didn't say it in the brachas hashanim, you can make it up in Shemei Tefillah. But to institute it initially to stick in the Shemei Tefillah, that we won't do. Now, according to Shulchan Aruch, B'shas Chak, when a person is B'shas Chak, let's say, for example, he's on the way. This is in Shulchan Aruch Aruchayim Siman Kuf Yud Sifkat and Aleph. It says a person is on the way, on the derech, or he's in a place where he's very tired, and he's worried that he'd be mafsik in Shemona Esrei, or he won't be able to daven with kavana. Then he should say the 3 brachas, Havinenu, and the latter 3 brachas. and you have to say what's standing. And when you get to your house, you do not have to repeat Shemona Esrei, right? But you don't daven Habinenu in Moshe Geshamim, nor Motzei Shabbos or Yontif, because we couldn't institute exactly where to put the Berachos Hashanim and the Bracha of Havdalah. Amr of Tanchem, Amr of Asi, Tov lehiska gavus Geshamim. If a person doesn't say Mashiach Baruch Hu Geshem, he goes back to the beginning of Shemona Esrei. So why can't you make it up in Shemaya Tefillah? So Tosfos speaks out beautifully. The bracha of Shemaya Tefillah is the conclusion of the bakashas that make the Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The mela, the bakasha of the same Talmud Levracha is the bakasha. So it has me'ein Shemaya Tefillah in the sense that just like in these middle 12 brachas, I'm asking for something. He listen to my voice. So listen to my voice that I want rain. But when you say Givurus Geshem and Mashiach Baruch Hu Geshem, you're not making a statement of a bakasha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're going ahead and being praise Hashem, what Hashem does for us. So you can't go ahead in a bracha of shvach, stick it wad in the bracha of bakasha. It doesn't pass to be in Shemaya Tefillah because it's not a bakasha at all. It's just a shvach, a praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Therefore, you have to go back to the beginning of the praises, which is the beginning, the first three brachas of Shemona Esrei. So it's like Tosfos. Shel Berachos Shonim, however, if you don't say the same Talmud, you don't have to go back unless you Shemaya Tefillah. And finally, Havdalah, you don't say Ata Chonin, B'Chonin Das, Ein Machzir Nesoim V'Shiach Lam Alakos. We're going to ask a kasha. You're telling me that if you go ahead, you make a mistake, right? That you go by Shelas Berachos Hashanim, that you don't have to go back. You can make up the same Talmud you can make up in Shemaya Tefillah. Meisrei. If you don't say Mashiach Baruch Hu Geshem, B'Tchias HaMeisim, Machzir Neso. No question, that's the same as we said before. Here's the kasha. Sheila Berachos Hashanim. If you go ahead, and you fail to say the same Talmud, right? And you go on, what do you have to do? Machzir, so you go back. You just told me before that you were saying in Shemaya Tefillah, that's going to be the kasha. That's also the same. So therefore, you have a problem. This price would be so what we said before. Before we said you don't have to go back because you can make it up in Shemaya Tefillah. And here you're saying you have to go back. Says Kasha, no, not a problem. If a person is davening bechidus, then he has to go back. If he's davening here at Tzibur, and he can hear the same Talmud from the Tzibur, he doesn't have to go back. The Tzibur, my time alike. The Tzibur, what's the reason that he doesn't have to go back? Mishum, the Shama Mishlech Tzibur, because he heard from the Shlech Tzibur. Yihachi, Hai Mifnei Sheyachal Oimer B'Shemaya Tefillah, Mifnei Shemaya B'Shlech Tzibur Miboilei. In other words, the reason we said that you don't have to go back is because, in fact, you could say it. Where? In Shemaya Tefillah. But here you're telling me a different reason. Not because you could say it, but because you could be machaven to be yoitzo when the Shlech Tzibur says it. So that doesn't make sense, the teretz you just given me. If you daven b'yechidus, where there's no Shlech Tzibur that you can be machaven to be yoitzo afterwards, then merely you have to repeat it. Ashenkein, when it's b'tzibur, you could go ahead and be machaven, then you don't have to say it. But we said before, the reason you don't have to go ahead and go back is because why? Is because you can make it up in Shemaya Tefillah. Mashma, you physically can say it, but not because what? Because you can mechaven. So that makes no sense. So therefore, back to the original question: why does one brisa say that what? You don't have to go back because you can say the Shemaya Tefillah. The second one you have to go back, and you can't tell me it's a chilik between Yachid and Sibur. You have to say that what? Either be Yachid. They're both speaking b'yechidus. They're both speaking b'yechidus. One you go back, when you don't go back. Like Kasha, if you remember what before Shemaya Tefillah, then you make it up Shemaya Tefillah. You don't have to go back. If you go ahead and you said Shemaya Tefillah already, then you go back. The question is, where do you go back to? Right. So the das of Tosfos of Yerushalmi, as long as you weren't Oiki Yeraglov, you can go back to Shemaya Tefillah and say in Shemaya Tefillah. Right? And that's the das of also of Rabbeinu Yoina. So again, let's say you pass along, you go back. Machzir Neso, what do you Machzir Neso? You Machzir to Shemaya Tefillah, according to Tosfos B'Shem Yerushalmi and Rabbeinu Yoina. However, the Rambam and the Rosh and the Baal Hilchos Gedolos, they say you have to go back, right? You have to go back to the beginning of davening, right? Meaning, right? That's the Berachos Hashanim, right? You go, in other words, you don't go back to the beginning. If you after Shemaya Tefillah, you would have to go back to the bracha of Berachos Hashanim and say the same Talmud there. So either way, you're not going back to the beginning of davening all the way back. The question is, if you go back, how far do you go back? Do you go back to Shmei Tefillah, or do you go back to the bracha of the same talmud of the bracha? Says the Gemara Vayta. Okay. If a person makes a mistake and he doesn't say Yal V'Yava in the bracha of Ritzei, he goes back to Ritzei. If he remembers that he didn't say Shmona, that he didn't say Yal V'Yava in the brachas of Moedim, goes back to goes back to the beginning of Avodah. The Sim Shalom, if he remembers he didn't say in the Sim Shalom, he goes back to Ritzei. Him saying, if he finishes Tefillah, he has to go back to the beginning of davening. That a person finishes, he goes back to the beginning of Shemon Esrei, only if he moved his feet. If he didn't move his feet, he goes back to Ritzei. Rav Tanchum said to him, how do you know this? I heard it from my father, Rav Acha Barada, the Abba Mori Shmulei Zemi Rav, and he did it from Rav. Some of that we said, a person stops, his uproots his feet, that he goes back, that Papa said he goes back to the beginning, he doesn't say Tachnunim like we say, sorry after that tefillah. If a person goes ahead and he remembers before in the Al-Kain Tzar and he hasn't uprooted his feet, even if he uprooted his feet, he still says Tachnunim, you still be able to go back to Ritzei. Others say, when do we say if he wasn't Okaragli, he goes back to Ritzei? It's only if he says Alakai. He's not Rogel. Let's say he finishes his tefillah. He doesn't say Tachnunim, but he hasn't moved his feet back yet. Nonetheless, he has to go back to the beginning of davening. He has to go back to the beginning of davening. So Shulchan Aruch in Siman Tufchav Beis Sif Aleph says that like a person has not been Oikis Raglov yet, even though he finished Olakai, as long as not Raglov, he can go back to the beginning of Ritzei. Someone who makes Keva in Latachnunim. That's what he said in the Mishnah. So my Keva, what does it mean you made the feel of Keva, a set? Amar Rav Yaakov Avidi, Amar Oishia, Kol Shet Tefillah Say Doimei Lov Kemasli. The tefillah is like a load on him. In other words, he's just davening to be Yotz's tefillah of davening. He's not davening with a geschmack. He just gets up, go to shul, gets up, mincha, ma'ariv. This is set. There's nothing. He's not davening because why that he has things to speak to HaKadosh Baruch Hu about. He's just davening because he's supposed to daven. That's the tefillah's keva, according to Rabbi Oishia. You don't say it benachas. You don't. It's like a person is asking Rahmanis. You just rip through the davening very, very quickly. So we have Rabbi Oishia. He makes it about a set thing that he just does it because he has to do it. And according to the Chachamim, he doesn't say it with the right speed. He doesn't say it with nachas. He doesn't make a lashon bakosha. Right. That's the okay. Toysa speaks out la halacha that is supposed to be passing like these two shittas. So as long as you do one or the other, if you make it tachnunim, even if it's not keva, if it's keva, even not tachnunim, you would be okay. But you have to do, we pass on like both. We pass on like both. That you need both. Rabbanan who said that that if you say b'lashon tachnunim, even the tefillah was not, it's not a good tefillah. Even if you said lashon, you need both. The Rabbanan will be machmir. Even if you go ahead and didn't make it, you went with a geschmack, but you said it very quickly. You always go to the lashon of tachnunim. So that's the main thing. The ik is the tefillah when you go ahead and make it kemasu. In other words, later if you would say lashon tachnunim, but it's still a load upon you because you're just doing it because you got to do it, you're not yaitza. According to Chachamim, even if you go ahead and do not go, you go ahead and you go with a geschmack, but nonetheless you don't say lashon tachnunim, you won't be yaitza. You need both. The question is which is the chumra over here? Which is the one the hakpad to decide. According to the Chacham, it's tachnunim. According to Rabbi Shia, it's the masud. Okay, anyone who's not able to chadish in his tzrachav, his needs all the time. I'm able to chadish things. However, nonetheless, Mustafina and Dilma Latrina, and by going and trying to Mechadish all the time, I'm worried about being torrid again. They did not have Sidurim in those days. I'm worried about losing my tefillah, my place. Baya Barov and Rachina Barov and Damit Shavayu, Kol Shem Espalol im the Dumichama. Now the Dumichama is when the sun goes up and the sun goes down. So what is considered tefillas keva if you don't daven v'sika when the sun comes up? What's tefillas keva if you don't daven b'shkia when the sun goes down? So the Amar of Chia Bar Avin, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, mitzvah l'spalim duicham. It's a mitzvah to go ahead, man, and daven with the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun. But Rabbi Zeir, my crow, where's the source for this? It says Gemara, it's by Shachar, it says Yerucha im Hashemesh, right? Yerucha by tefillah Shachar Yerucha, they should go ahead and fear you im Hashemesh, right? And by Mincha it says Lefnei Yereach, as the moon comes out dar darim. So therefore, that's the tefillas keva according to Abaye Bar Ovin and Rav Chanina Bar Ovin is to daven at these certain periods of time. For Sikin, for Shachris, Shkia by Mincha. However, Laila Marov and Eretz Yisrael, they would curse someone Amanda Matzlim the Dumichama, a person would daven but tefillah with the Dumichama. Why? My timer. Till mitzvah l'shaita, maybe time is going to pass, and he'll end up davening past the time. So the halacha is that a person should daven the tzadik ches samach gimel. A person should daven like a poor person. Uvakish bepesach ubenachas. You should daven. It shouldn't be like a matzah. You should daven a lashon of slowly, and it should not be a load upon you. Right. And the Gra says we pass like Rabbi and Rabbanan. Even the chachila, you need these two things. Okay. And the Bir Halacha says, you have to repeat davening that if you don't daven correctly, you'd have to repeat it. However, the you shouldn't go back. That even though you didn't daven b'lashon tachnunim, even though you made it was a massa upon you that you just took it at the time, you would not have to go backward and daven. Thank Baruch Hashem for the Mishnah Brura. I don't know. Again, many of us, including myself, we'd have to go ahead and repeat davening often. Anyone who goes on the Makom Sakana, you can daven this short tefillah, the Pashas Iba. That was a funny lesson. Pashas Iba hates Tzarcheim Lefanecha. What is Pashas Iba? What is Pashas Iba? The lesson of Ibor. So again, this is lesson. Melchem Shlomo say just like you leave us because of our virus, just like a child leaves its womb. Nonetheless, that what you perish from us, let our needs be in front of you. Even the time you're angry at us, like a pregnant woman, even the time of Bnei Yisrael or even the Bnei Torah, it all needs to be in front of you. A person is going in a place of bands of robbers and troops, wild animals. Sorry, again, he can't kind of have kavana in this case. So we're going ahead and give him a short tefillah that he shouldn't be alone. I say with soncha b'shamayim mimal, right? Make your ratzah b'shamayim mimal. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ratzah should be honest for good, right? In other words, and al yoinim, the malachim they didn't do averis, and the ratzon of Kadosh Baruch Hu's them is only l'toiv. But in this world, l'mayla, where chas v'shalom we do the averis, right? Nonetheless, our shter rachmanos on us. Tei nachas ruach l'riachem yitachas. The nachas ruach we should not be mispalel that what al yedei chayas to list them. Hatoy beinecha osei, you should do the right thing. In other words, judge us. However, atzilenu. But save us from these listening. Punish us, but not through this Chaim Royals for listening. Baruch Hashem Shemei Tefillah. Yeshua Aimer Shoma Shavas, right? Amcha Yisrael. Hear the cries of Amcha Yisrael. Yosem Mehira Bakosha Sub. Do quickly the Bakoshas Baruch Hashem Shemei Tefillah. Again, another lashon. Elizabeth so the Goyim Shoma Tzakas Amcha Yisrael. Yosem Mehira Bakosha Sub. Baruch Hashem Shemei Tefillah. Say the needs of Klal Yisrael are many. The daitim kitsara and the dash is short, and they don't know how to go ahead and explain the bakashas. Right? They don't know how to explain the bakashas. Like he writes on Tanach Hashem Elkeinu shet titain l'chol echad v'echad k'dei parnasasai l'chol gavia in each everybody they machzori the basic sustenance. Right? And the Rambam adds the lashon v'tov beinecha asay, do what's good in your eyes. Baruch to Hashem shmei tefillah. Amar Rav Huna halacha ke'acherim. Right, the halacha is what is like the acherim. The halacha is like the acherim.